The Fringe Podcast, Season 5, Episode 7, Feedback for the Recordist.
This is my name here, and you are listening to the Fringe Podcast.
Support for the Fringe Podcast is provided by listeners like you and by this week's sponsor, Global Cash Card. Learn how Global Cash Card provides world-class solutions for pay cards, gift cards, per diem cards, flex cards, and more by visiting thefringepodcast.com/globalcashcard today. Welcome back to the Fringe Podcast, everybody. A podcast dedicated to the Fox television show
Rock. I do remember Rock.
I loved Rock.
Rock was awesome.
I was a big, and it introduced me to Charles S. Dutton, which I'm a big fan of.
Yeah.
I've thoroughly enjoyed every movie that he has ever done.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm.
Like Alien 3?
Yeah. I guess actually why I said that, I knew that you would bite on that, and you did. You feel right into my vagenda.
I think it's cool that they had a show about the president, 8 years before he got elected.
The Rock?
Rock. It's about Barack Obama, right?
Sure it is, Clint. Sure it is.
Okay.
That's exactly what it's about. All right. We got some really good feedback for this episode, although I will say that it was not nearly the amount of feedback that we typically get for an episode, which is fine. Feedback has always been a way for us to gauge how much people enjoyed the episode.
Or how engaged people were in the subject matter of that episode, I think.
Right.
Yeah.
And so I think with the smaller amount of feedback we had in this episode, it lends me to believe that some of our disappointments with the episode were probably more widely spread than just between the two of us. But we got some really, really good feedback. A lot of people really did like the episode. I'm certainly not going to act like it was a bad episode because we did both like it. But anyway, let's get started this week with our Bunsen Burners. I'm going to let you go first, Clint.
All right. Our first Bunsen burner comes in from Invalidated Zero Fights. He gave it 9.2036. Cry Me a River. You going to read yours, Daryl?
You're not going to read the rest of it, huh?
What?
Oh, you invalidated it. Never mind. Give me egg sticks or give me pie. Gave it 8. Anti-observer plans require more minds. MINES.
Oh.
And you did it anyway.
Cry me a river. I couldn't help myself. Bianca Christine gave it 7 gold mines.
That's pretty good. Expendable Gerbil says
Thanks.
9 tasty Perusian miners.
Perusian. Yep. A Fleet Alex gave it 7 moss men in the woods.
Melchizedek gave it 8 deep, dark pits of carbonizing death. I like that.
I like it too. Linda's Lost gave it 9.5 strawberry handshakes forever. Strawberry handshakes forever.
Laura HT. Dot gave it 8 Fanghorn Forest Treebeard Ints. I'm going to get hate mail because I have no idea what that means.
Corgi Bear gave it 7 Fringe Division comic books.
TJM gave it 7.5 historical episodes.
I agree. I laughed so hard at this episode. Didn't you, Daryl?
He said historical, Clint.
Oh.
Not hysterical.
Okay.
There's a difference.
Little Hill with the L's as ones, except for the first one, which is capitalized, gave it 9. A Family of Trees Wanted to be Haunted. Yeah, little MGMT.
I'm getting bashed in the chat room. Was that Lord of the Rings? I should have known it if it was Lord of the Rings. Treebeard, I thought was a Lord of the Rings thing, and if ints are what those tree things are called, I didn't know that's what they were called.
Yeah, Daryl.
I should have my nerd card taken away. All right. Ryan from Iowa says 7 out of 10 Astrid at the Avid.
Fahrenheit 533 gave it 7.5 int people.
I don't know what that means.
I know you don't. Didn't you ever see A Bug's Life?
Oh, ant people.
Yes.
Oh, I got you.
Yeah.
There's a typo then.
Yeah.
Straight 1337 gave it 10. Don't touch me, bro.
Zeppelin Driver gave it 8.5 pounds of Oreo cookie makeup per actor.
Funny. The Unibeefer gave it 9. Tree? I'm no tree. I'm an ince.
Yogobon gave it 9.5. Definitely not dwarfs.
More Lord of the Rings stuff. See, I should have been there. Jenny from Ohio gave it 8.5. Unfortunate skin conditions.
D-Rack 6955 gave it 9 pounds of dilithium crystals for the future.
Little Fringy gave it 8.5. MINES.
NYC Fringe Math Geek gave it 7.5. Daddy says it's copper.
Boston Red Vines gave it 9.23. Crystals without slee stacks. Longhorns without touchdowns.
What?
She'll get it. That's all that matters.
What? That's not the what she said.
Yeah, it is.
No, it's not.
Sure it is.
Did you see them score in the last half a second?
That made me so mad.
It's so funny. Wasn't that funny?
Not at all.
It was funny.
What was
Anyways.
funny was that aerial shot of half the stadium empty, the part where all the people wearing orange had been sitting.
Yeah.
That was funny.
The ozone layer gave it 8.0 prosthetic facial makeup scabs.
I like it. I feel bad now because I think I got some folks that wrote in last year after I said something after the OU Texas game that didn't appreciate my comments.
Oh.
I will apologize now. I don't mean to cause trouble.
He likes rubbing it in. Salt in the wound. Daryl is.
I only meant to do it with Boston Red Vines because she and I were talking about it in the chat room the other day. So if anyone else was offended, I apologize. All right. Alternate Cat.
Nobody cares about football.
Some of us do. 8 Astrids getting candleized. I like that. Like Marvin Candle.
Yes.
Yeah.
Chantalny. I think it's Chantal, New York. It's not Chantilly lace. Had a pretty face. Sorry. 8.5 stones to defeat the observers. Man, it's going to be a long episode.
Oh, man. Sci-Fi Fan 3 gave it 9.25 red rocks in a gold mine.
Lisa 2 gave it 9.5. Way beyond the fringe. Comics created by River.
I like that. Some idiot gave it 8.5 windmark butt chins.
Brown Coat Tom gave it 6.5. I heard it through the grapevines. Daryl, are you going to read the next one?
I'm just saying if you can resist this time.
I'm going to resist.
Okay. He's clenching the desk. All right. New Dana gave it 7.5 info cubes. Why?
Alabama Fringe gave it 9.89 bark for the mine.
Serenity and All gave it 9. You making my skin crawl.
Momentum Deferred gave it 8.5. A river records through it. That's a great one.
That's a good one. Guest 9052 gave it 8.5 people in need of a good dermatologist.
Man.
True dat.
Yeah, think about all the money you could make in a town like that.
Mm-hmm.
Like Doc Hollywood. Totally Addicted gave it 8.5. Such a lovely family. I love them. Live long and prosper. Fringe family.
Nice. Ducky is Lost gave it 7 tubes of Clearasil. Won't clear that up.
Fringe Peaks gave it 9.125 humble heroes.
Nathaniel Person gave it 7 Scottish doctors.
Can't do it, Captain. Don't have the power.
Nice. Got the tongue roll there.
Yeah. Highway 61 gave it 9.86. Now this is a ride.
The Lost Passenger gave it 7 Carson Beckett Tree People.
Blue Eagle gave it 9 copies of tape 6. Or was it 7?
Walternates Dew gave it 9 Wooded Warriors.
Kalina gave it 9 road trips with the whole family.
Pellucid gave it 7. How could they not think their cell phones aren't being traced?
I don't know. That's a good question. Maureen Paolini gave it 8 tears for a fallen hero.
Nice. Denef gave it 7 Deadly Gold Mimes.
Tangier, 14, gave it 10 tiny rocks.
Ardith gave it 8 baby Fringe fans.
Cinewolf gave it 8.5 tears of a bark boy.
Kenny C gave it 9. I wish that was Bobby Valentine in the bottom of the well.
Top Army Sarge gave it 9.5 big red rocks.
David Wu gave it 10 episodes remain. Hard to believe.
It definitely is. Green Peter. That sounds like a bad disease.
Green Peter.
9 crappy station wagons of fugitives.
Ebony Jet 7 gave it 8 hand-drawn comic books. And
Striker Galt gave it 6 wonderful walks in the woods with Walter.
very, very good. Thanks to everybody who submitted Bunsen Burners this week. Again, if you want to submit your Bunsen Burner, the only way to do that is to join us in the live show Friday nights while Fringe is airing in the continental U.S. Leave your Bunsen Burner at the end of the episode there in the chat room. And that is over at thefringepodcast.com/chat. All right, man, you ready for some feedback?
Let's do it.
Let's do that. Here's the music right here. All right, we got some really good feedback in this week. We really did, and we're really grateful for everyone who sent that in. And I'm really grateful because while they are giving us their feedback while we're listening to that, I get to eat some of these awesome cookies that my wife made. And this first one is from Dave.
Hey friends at the Fringe Podcast, it's your old buddy Interdimensional Dave. Hope you're all doing well. Well, that was a nice little episode we got this past Friday, The Recordist, parable on sacrifice and courage and knowing to do the right thing and fighting the good fight. And kind of reminds me of the episode we saw the week before, doesn't it? I did a blog post on it at your site, Why We Fight, and it seemed to cover the same things. I'm not sure why we needed to see this twice or 2 weeks in a row. I hope that wasn't a filler episode. We have precious few episodes to deal with, but at least it did give us a new perspective. Instead of inside the group, we got to see the same type of themes outside the group, which was interesting. Plus, we had a good definition of courage too. And I think one of the other things we learned was new insights to Olivia. She's always so hardcore. At least that's the way we think of her, the warrior princess, always fighting the good fight. She actually confides in Peter, a side of her we don't get to see too often, that she was afraid, basically. She didn't want to deal, so she kind of ran. And it's all because she couldn't deal with what she thought was the awful truth ahead of her behind Edda's fate. Pretty interesting. The other thing I found interesting in this episode was the little Easter egg or clue that they dropped about the mystery guy that went to the quartz mine, the gold mine, 21 years before on the behest of a scientist from Boston. It's natural to assume this scientist from Boston was Walter. Maybe it wasn't Walter. Maybe it's a different scientist from Boston. William Bell. Does that explain why we saw him in the amber and letters of transit? Maybe so. Anyway, I thought that would be pretty cool. Little observation. So you guys take care. I hope I won enough money on the Oklahoma game yesterday to finance my trip out to see y'all. Next February. We'll see. I might have to bet on him again. Interdimensional Dave, out.
I hadn't listened to his all the way through, so I didn't know that was coming.
That's funny.
I hope you want enough to come out too, Dave. We'd love to see you here in OKC for the finale. Zero Fight's confirmed in the chat room earlier that he's going to be here. I'm really looking forward to being able to invalidate Zero Fights in person.
In person.
That's like a dream come true, isn't it?
Should we just give him a shirt?
Let's just say, folks, if you have ever dreamed like we have of having the opportunity to invalidate Zero Fights in person, the Fringe finale party here in Oklahoma City is going to be your chance to do that. That should be motivation enough.
I know.
Yeah. All right, let's talk about some of the points that Interdimensional Dave made. The first thing he mentioned was his blog post, and we've said this a lot. We probably don't say it enough, though, that the blogs that are being written over at thefringepodcast.com are fantastic. And we say that because, number one, they are, and number two, we're not bragging on ourselves because we're not doing any of them. It's wonderful Fringe fans out there like Dave that are writing these. And if you haven't checked them out, come visit the website often, and you'll find some really great blog entries over at thefringepodcast.com. Just click on the blog link.
I like that.
Yeah.
You should totally do it.
Totally
do it.
So is this a filler episode, Clint? We didn't really use that word, I don't think.
I don't think we did, but I can certainly see how people would feel that way.
I definitely can.
Yeah, I mean, we got one piece of what was it? 7-part puzzle? 8-part puzzle? How many tapes are there?
7 is the number I have in my mind,
Yeah.
and I'm not sure why. And we did get some character development. He talked about, the insight we got into Olivia in this episode.
Yeah.
I think it's too early to say if it was a filler episode or not.
Yeah. There are people in the chat room that are saying filler, and there are people that are saying no, it's not.
It's interesting. It's definitely, and we saw it in the Bunsen Burners too. There were some people that gave it 9s and 10s, and then as low as 7s.
Yep.
So it was definitely more widespread than typically.
Yep.
But what we got in this episode in regards to Olivia, we didn't talk a whole lot about it in our podcast because I knew there was going to be some stuff coming in this episode.
Right.
She was afraid. We've never really seen that. That's not a character trait that we would have put on Olivia prior to this episode.
Definitely not. I think it's because she didn't really have anything to lose before.
Okay.
I mean, if she dies, she dies. But now she's got a family that she has to protect. Particularly a daughter that she really, really loves, and that's scary.
Yeah. I agree with that, but she was also afraid of what she didn't want to see that side of her daughter's dead body, essentially.
Yeah.
And that frightened her as well.
It's scary.
That would be scary. I hope I never have to even think that might be a possibility for me.
Right.
As a parent, that's the worst thing that could happen. She felt inadequate as a mother. Do you think that perhaps, when we saw her pause at the end of the last season when she told Peter that she was pregnant, do you think she was even feeling trepidation back then as to her inadequacies as a mother, or maybe what the cortexiphan trials did to her, and maybe how she wouldn't be able to really be a fit mother? Do you think that's why she paused when she told him that, or was there something else at work there?
I don't know. We still don't know if it's Peter's. I guess.
Oh, come on.
I guess we can assume that.
Yes.
But, there really wasn't enough time in that scene for her to be able to express it,
Right.
I still think it's Lincoln's baby. I'm just saying.
Oh, man. Are you
I'm just
serious? Man.
Lincoln's baby.
They're making fun of the way that I say pause. I guess I said pause. Pause. I don't know. Pause. 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 I don't know. How do I say pause?
I don't know. Come here, pal.
Okay.
Paul, outhouse is clogged again.
I've lost my train of thought now. In regard to her being afraid, I guess is what we were talking about. So I guess I'm just that whole scene there where she and Peter were talking about, her insecurities as a mom. I can totally see where she's coming from.
Yeah.
But I still don't know that it would have caused me to run back to
pause.
All right. I'm done. Anything else you'd like to contribute?
I'm sorry, Daryl. No, I don't have anything meaningful to contribute.
Okay. Let's listen to Hannah.
Hey, it's Hannah, Totally Addicted in the chat room. It's 10:03 on Fringe Friday. I just watched the episode and I thought it was so great. It was so emotional and so good. My favorite scenes were, of course, Olivia in the car talking about after Etta was taken and how they were planning on how to search for her and everything, and Olivia's feelings and Peter's, just listening to her and just listening to what she needed to say and was working through, and it was just done so beautifully and so great. So that was one of my most favorite scenes of the episode, as well as the one at the end where they're all getting into the car and Etta gets in and Olivia reaches back and motherly grabs her leg just to, connect and know that she's there and she's safe, and just kind of, it was very motherly, and I think it was very great. And the whole Bishop family driving off into the sunset. So cute. I think that scene, though, also kind of shows that now Liv's on board and she is in it just as much as Peter and Walter and probably Astrid were before in the last 2 episodes. It kind of seemed like she was getting on board, but it wasn't, completely like, okay, this is our situation. But now, especially with, her grabbing at his leg lovingly and kind of just accepting the family as it is now, it was kind of like, okay, we're all on board now. This is what it was supposed to be. And kind of like what she said in her talk to Peter, where she was like, I didn't feel like I deserved to have this beautiful little girl in my life and everything. And that when she was taken, it was supposed to happen, and that I wasn't supposed to have a second chance, basically. And Peter was like, but there's some miracle that we have had the second chance. And I think she's starting to realize that this is their second chance, and this is their way to have their daughter and be together and keep working for the life of humankind, I guess, My third favorite scene of the episode was the scene with River and his father, and how they talked about what being a coward was, and what being brave was, basically, and that being a coward was knowing what had to be done and not doing it. And that was something that the father had learned, and he was like that he had to go ahead and do it no matter how scared he was. So that was great. I also hope that's one of the quote of the weeks, because I think I could really use that quote for some of my writing or whatever. I think it's interesting. Anyway, it was a great episode, and I can't wait to hear what everyone thinks. I will see what's up in the chat room on Sunday. This is Totally Addicted out.
And in some weird, time travel thingy, she's in the chat room right now. We were just hearing her voice.
That's crazy. How did that happen?
The wonders of science and technology.
She must have got one of those observer beam me down thingies.
Yep. She is an observer.
That's true.
She's the female observer.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
We got the answer to that plot question.
Absolutely.
All right, what do you think about her favorite parts of the episode?
Yeah, I completely agree. It didn't even register till she said it, but the scene where she reaches back and touches at his leg, the way that they shot that, I couldn't tell whose leg she was touching.
Yeah.
It wasn't until about 15 seconds later until I realized that Peter got in the front seat of the car that it wasn't Peter's, and they panned over Walter's.
Yeah. And what parent hasn't done that, right? Reach back and just
exactly what I was going to say. I was thinking back, made me remember when I was a kid, and my parents would reach back and, show me that they love me by touching my leg. And I do the same thing with my kids.
Yep.
It's just one of those things. And it was touching, that she's kind of accepted her role as a mother instead of a warrior.
Right.
Or maybe a mother and a warrior.
Well, sure, you don't cross Mama Bear, right?
That's right.
Yeah, I liked it a whole lot too. And then the idea of the station wagon. The station wagon is clearly a family car.
Yeah.
And so there's some symbolism there. They've gotten rid of the van, which is it's a much more hard vehicle. It's a work vehicle, and now they've got this family station wagon, which I would imagine they actually had some memories of a station wagon very similar to that, right?
Yeah.
Toting around in that thing, and Walter with his sunglasses. They weren't the same goggles he was using earlier, so I don't know what they were, but it's just a cool scene. And we already talked about the courage scene, which she mentioned as well.
We did, yeah. It's, again, a great scene. So.
Yep. Very cool. Thank you, Hannah, for calling in, and thank you for being in the live show right now and participating in that. Let's read a few. We got quite a bit of written stuff we're going to read today. Clit, would you like to take the first one or not?
I'll take the second one.
You'll take the second one. All right. I'll take the first one. It says, hello, Clint and Daryl, in alphabetical order. I think the observers chose that specific time because they needed the infrastructure of that specific time. The observers do know that they couldn't change their future by their acting because they create just a new timeline. I'm a fan of your podcast since season 2. Thanks. And that comes in from Pavlos. I agree. I think they needed the infrastructure that was. They couldn't go further back in time because they didn't want to have to recreate all this technology. They needed some sort of time period when technology was going to be suitable for them.
Infrastructure.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. I guess if I was looking back at time travel and, I'm thinking about traveling back, would I go back to the 1800s versus the 1700s? I would probably go back to the 1800s just because they had some semblance of technology, some understanding of what disease was and how to prevent it.
Yeah.
I wouldn't have to eat moldy meat all the time and things like that. So,
yeah.
I can see that.
Yeah, I could totally see that. All right. Thanks for sending that in.
All right. This, Daryl, may be our first, our only official hate mail that we've ever received. Isn't it awesome?
This is pretty good.
And it was the funny thing was, I don't know if you caught this, maybe you didn't, but this was one of the bait statements that I made. I threw a couple in there just to try and get hate mail, and by golly, I got one.
It worked in this case.
Yes. So, this one comes in from Toby. He says, "Hi guys, you do a great job each week. I'm a regular and longtime listener, but I was so disappointed when you two spoke ill of New Girl, using it in the same sentence as Jersey Shore. WTF. Fringe is probably my favorite TV show of all time, just ahead of Battlestar Galactica, another great show, and perhaps Twin Peaks, which I haven't seen, but Daryl raves about it a lot."
Twin Peaks?
Yeah.
Oh, man. Have you not seen Twin Peaks?
I haven't seen Twin Peaks.
You need to remedy that, my friend.
We'll see. I also enjoy well-written comedy shows like Parks and Recreation, 30 Rock, Louie, Portlandia, Girls, HBO. No, I'm sorry, Girls on HBO, The Office, the UK version, and Bored to Death. And if I may just interject, I'm also a big fan of comedy.
Whatever.
I do. I like a lot of the same shows. I love tuning into 30 Rock, Big Bang Theory is another great show.
Mm-hmm.
Portlandia, I think, is hilarious.
Mm-hmm.
There are lots of great, funny shows out there that I enjoy watching.
Okay.
And some terrible ones, too, that I also enjoy watching.
All right.
Have you guys even seen New Girl?
I have not.
Or are you just annoyed at the misleading title that doesn't do it justice? It's definitely one of the funniest and well-written shows I've seen lately, with its great pop culture observation and its edgy humor. You guys seem to have a good sense of humor. I often have a great time laughing out loud at Clint's jokes on the air.
What about my jokes?
I don't know if that means that you have a good sense of humor or not, but we'll keep reading. Also, Fringe has a great element of humor, mostly coming from Walter, and you guys seem to enjoy that as well. So why would you be hating on this television show, New Girl? I don't get it. I can only deduct that you have not paid attention to the show, but I could be wrong. It's really sad, even if 10 people that listen to your podcast avoid watching New Girl because you put it in the same sentence as Jersey Shore. Then it's a micro step closer to being canceled and replaced by something really horrible like reality TV or something resembling Cougar Town or The Mob Doctor. Please watch 2 to 3 short episodes and tell me if you have the same opinion of the show. Keep up the good work. That one comes in from Toby. And Toby, thank you so much for sending in that email. I have to say that I picked on New Girl specifically because it's one of those, what I'll call it a critical darling show. It's a show that I know that there are people that really, really like it, and the people that like it are really, really passionate about it. I watched the pilot. I thought the pilot was pretty funny. Zooey Deschanel is, I'm a big fan of her work. And so I did this on purpose. I did this to try and get hate mail, and lo and behold, we got it. So
yeah. It's funny. I don't know if I've ever shared this story now, but when we were at Comic-Con, we were talking about, I think we were talking about New Girl.
Yeah.
Or Bones. It was Bones because we'd been to the Bones panel.
Yeah.
And I was talking about how attractive I thought Emily was. And you were like, she's attractive, but Zoe's so much more attractive. And I'm like, I don't think so. I think Emily's more attractive. And you're like, no, I think Zoe's more attractive. And then I think you had the bright idea, like, you said, you know what I think this is? you're closer to Emily's age and I'm closer to Zoe's age. And we pulled it up, and it's true. I'm like within a year of Emily, and you're within a year of Zoe.
Yep.
And we decided to just agree to disagree based on that information.
That's
alone.
true. So Toby, I hope you know that whole rant, there really wasn't a bit of seriousness in it, except for maybe making fun of Jersey Shore. But that was really just
that was definitely serious.
That was just to elicit a terrible comparison to some of the other things that we'd mentioned.
So if you have been putting off watching New Girl and used our commentary last week as a further basis not to watch it, disregard our commentary, watch New Girl, and form your own opinion.
That's right.
Yeah.
All right.
You're going to take the next one too.
What?
She has specifically asked for you to read it.
All right. This is a short email for Clint to read. I didn't go back and look at the screenshots, so this is just an off-the-cuff comment question. When Little Boy showed Olivia, Peter, Etta his comic book, his drawing showed Walter wearing dark goggles we later see him wearing in the episode. I don't remember him ever wearing goggles like that, so is it possible this boy is drawing future events? Probably not, since I doubt we'll see him again, but I thought it was something I thought of while watching the episode. Happy Sunday and go Patriots. Angela from Ma. That's Massachusetts, though I did come from my ma.
That's good information.
No, that is a great question, Daryl.
Mm-hmm.
Have we ever seen Walter in those specific lab goggles?
Not that I can recall, but I don't think the boy was drawing from the future either. And I'm only basing that, I'm basing it on two things. One, that they said that they chronicled the history. And two, we see Peter and Olivia in those comics, and Olivia has a baby in her arms.
That's true.
Although the baby looked younger than Etta did.
Well, they had to be young at some point.
Yeah, I know, but in my mind it was chronicling the invasion, but that wouldn't line up with what we saw on Invasion Day in the park.
Was Etta...
She wasn't a baby then. She was walking and
stuff. But she wasn't a grown-up in any of the scenes of the comic book, right?
I don't think so.
Right. And Walter had a glove on.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. It's an interesting theory.
It is. Hopefully we'll find out more. I don't know if we're going to see the comic things again or not, but I would love to.
Yeah, we'll see.
Yep. All right, I'm going to read one more, and then we'll play some more feedback. This one comes in from Wayne. Wayne says, I know I'm a bit late on this one, but I was just listening to the podcast for In Absentia yesterday, and I had a few thoughts. I agree that when Etta uses the aging machine on Manfredi, it is reminiscent of The Princess Bride, but I think it is even more of a shout-out to the Sound of Drums episode of Doctor Who, where the Master forces the Doctor to age, and his limbs flail about like Manfredi's did.
Now let me ask, did I not mention that in the podcast? I had it in the show notes. I can't remember if I actually mentioned it.
I don't know if you did or not, but he's exactly right. And if you did, then you're exactly right, too.
Yeah, that's exactly what it reminded me of. I thought I had mentioned it, but maybe I didn't.
I don't recall off the top of my head.
Okay.
Number 2, he says, I don't think it's clear when Manfredi was lying. He told Olivia what she wanted to hear, and he told Etta what she wanted to hear. If he continued to claim he had a son, Etta would not have believed him and would have killed him. Ultimately, I think Manfredi will turn out to be a good guy. If humanity deserves to survive, guys like Manfredi need to help the resistance. Just like on last night's episode, we see that it will take significant sacrifices from many to defeat the observers. I agree with that. Number 3, observers are shapeshifters from the future? Love it. I think you're onto something there. I like it. And he says, anyway, I know I missed out on the feedback episode. Just wanted to send you guys a line. Love the podcast. And that comes in from Wayne from Fatalists.
Very cool.
Yeah, thanks, Wayne, for sending that in. Do you have any other commentary on that?
No. Holy cow.
Okay.
We got a lot of written feedback, didn't we?
We did. All right, let's move on with Heather. I should unmute the soundboard again, and we'll try Heather again.
Hello, this is Heather from Utah. I'm calling in for the Fringe Podcast. I have not actually seen the episode yet this week. I'm calling about last week's, which, well, I had feedback, but I didn't call in. I have an opinion I think is a lot different than what people who saw last week's episode, the Ian and Cynthia, thought. The loyalist who was interrogated, told Olivia he had a son that died and he wanted to protect his family, but then he told Etta that he didn't have any living family, and everyone was under the impression that he lied to Olivia and told the truth to Etta. I was under the impression that the opposite thing happened. When I was watching him, when he was talking to Olivia, he seemed really sincere and heartfelt. And then at the end, when he was talking to Etta, he just didn't seem as sincere. He seemed like he was just saying some script that he didn't believe. And so I took it to mean Olivia affected him, and he admitted feeling something in relation to her, and so he told her the truth and got her to help him in a way. But Etta, he didn't have any connection to and feel like he had to do any help with her. And at the end, he thought she would kill him anyway, so I figured, well, no matter what I say, she's going to kill me, so I might as well say what she wants to hear so she'll hurry and shoot me and get it over with quick. Because if I spend time trying to argue with her and say I have a family, blah, 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 she'll just make it more painful. And so I have the little inkling that maybe what he told Olivia was true, and there really is maybe not his family, but something there that's going to help them, because he was going to help say something good for Olivia, but he wasn't going to say anything nice to Etta because, he didn't like her at all. So that's my feedback on that little thing, and I'll probably have more after I see this week's episode. Thanks. I'll be out in a flash of blue light.
All right. Thank you, Heather, for sending that in. She mentioned some of the other things, some things that Wayne was just talking about with who was lying or who wasn't lying.
Yeah.
Or when was Manfredi lying? When was he not lying? Right. It's interesting. I mean, because the previous feedback said that he was lying in both cases, just telling them both what they wanted to hear. Heather's saying that it was probably lying to Etta. Right? Isn't that what the position she took?
I don't know. Sorry.
You and I debated back and forth last week. I don't know. I don't know if we'll ever find out what the truth is. I don't know if we'll ever get an appearance at that address that he gave.
Yeah, I think we'll see Manfredi again.
Yeah?
Yeah.
I hope so. Like I mentioned in the last podcast, there's precedent for there being loyalists who are sensitive to the resistance. So that gives me hope that we will see him again in that role.
Right.
When it all comes, to fruition.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Cool.
Okay. All right. Anything else there, Clint?
Mm-mm.
All right. Let's move on to Corey.
Hey guys, Corey from Australia, sending in feedback for episode 503. I just finished watching it, and I was a little so-so on it. 6 forgetful apple pies out of 10. These rocks better be damn important, or I'm not going to be happy, because that means this was just a bit of a filler episode, and being that there's only 13 episodes this season, I don't think they can afford to be doing filler episodes. So they're going to use these quartz rocks as some sort of power source. That's what Walter sort of pointed out there. I don't know much in the way of science about if quartz can generate power, but I guess we're going to find out. I thought maybe they're going to be something like logic diamonds or something. But I think logic diamonds only store information. They don't actually generate power. But I'm sure Clint knows all about that, being the science guy. Are all the tapes just right there in the amber? In which case, why don't they just dig them all out and watch them in sequence? If they're not in the amber, then how are they going to find the rest of them? I mean, that's really where I thought we were going. They were going to get hints on where the other tapes were and get the information by, having to track them down. So yeah, a little confused, a little frustrated, but as we all know, Fringe has always come good in the end, and I'm sure it's going to be epic. Hopefully more epic than tonight's episode. I hate to be negative, but there it is. Anyway, until next week, Keep fighting the observers. Cheers, guys.
Cheers, mate.
All right, science guy, what say you?
Filler episode. Somebody in the chat room, Fringe Peak says, "What about all the M filler site episodes?"
Yeah,
from last season. That's funny.
That's true. Yeah, I don't know. Like I said, we'll have to wait and see if it's a filler episode or not.
The question was, can energy be stored in crystals?
Right. I've got a great idea.
Not that I know of, but what do I know?
I'm serious.
Okay.
I think this is a great idea. Take the crystals.
Smash them up, snort them in your nose, see if they cause hallucinations.
No.
Oh.
Hone them into some skulls. Why are you doing that with your microphone, Clint? You could create like a kingdom out of them.
Daryl, I don't know what you're talking about, but I think you just nuked the fridge on this podcast. We should probably move on.
All right, let's read some more. I tell you what, I'll take this one. I'll take this next one.
Are you really going to read it?
I am. I didn't know if I was going to read it or not because I don't. I'm highly skeptical of this.
This is a joke.
It's got to be.
You know that, right?
But I think it's entertaining at the very least, and so I am going to read it. Do you think I should not?
It's up to you.
I think it's entertaining, and so when I first read it, I thought it was an entry into the Bridge the Backstory contest, and then I realized it's not. So this comes in. Who's this in from? Rick. This is what Rick from Illinois says. Hey, Clint and Daryl. This is rumored to be an actual draft, an actual draft story from one of the Fringe writers found on a bar napkin. And so here it is. Episode 503, which is what we just saw this week. All hail the Lizard King. The team finds tape number 2, but plot twist, it's really tape number 4. Let's make it also happen in the lab, just deeper. I guess Walter recorded this one before the first one since they are in the same amber. The tape tells them to go to Pennsylvania, but Marvin Candle's out of the why of it. The team goes and is captured by lizard men and psoriasis victims. The lizard men have built the internet, only it uses glass cubes and isn't connected to the other computers. Kill a few minutes with a cute kid while no one can figure out while they're there. Astrid teleports back to Boston to watch... Teleports back to Boston to watch the video again, and we watch her watching the tape for a few minutes. She hears the word mine. The head lizard guy remembers that they live next to a mine and that it is the reason for their grotesque appearance. Note, need to find sciencey reason for their skin, something about gas? After questioning, the Lizard King remembers that they blogged about some guy who was looking for magic rocks in the mine before. To get to the mine, they need to armor plate their mystery mobile with 0 to 2 pounds of copper. There is no copper. Meanwhile, Windmark tracks Etta and knows exactly where she is. Come up with a good reason for observers to not simply walk through reality to where they are and end the story right there. Or just gloss over it. Send loyalists to hunt them down. Peter and Olivia fight about something for a while. Lizard King's son is disappointed when the Lizard King won't help the Fringe team. He helps the Fringe team. Lizard King goes to the bottom of the well, or was it a mine? Can't remember. And turns the donkey wheel to get the magic rocks. He dies. Son writes something thematic on Reddit about how great he was. Into the episode with his mini quest complete. Team leaves in a fresh new whip with a little less storage space, but a lot more soul. They are safe for now. Surely the observers wouldn't think to use Etta's tracking device again for at least a few weeks. Roll credits. Next week, Walter meets a scientist who did something ethically questionable to help his son. Meanwhile, Nina Sharp does something possibly suspicious. Sorry for the long feedback. It was a big bar napkin. Love the podcast. Keep it up. Like I said, it's not real, but it's certainly, I found it to be quite entertaining.
That's funny.
Yeah. And if in my imagination, if it were real, it would be even more entertaining.
Okay.
Yeah. All right. I'll let you take the next one. Thanks,
boy.
Rick, for sitting that in.
All right. This one, who does this one come in from?
Who does that one come in from?
Comes in from no one.
I'll see if I can find out.
All right. This one comes in from Ghost. Ghost says, I believe that Season 5 is actually on a timeline that predates events in Season 1, with a wicked time paradox taking place in the timelines, playing out simultaneously. I believe we will see the introduction of the manifesto sometime in the near future. I also believe that William Bell is actually traveling through time and not just between universes. This may be the reason why he's found himself facing death. I wouldn't be surprised if Cortex's fan will have given Olivia the ability to travel through time as well. It's obvious that William Bell brought back the guns in Season 5 to Season 4. He didn't invent them, he stole them. I seriously doubt there is actually a machine that has to be built to stop the observers. I believe the warriors will fight fire with fire and battling and time travel themselves. I also believe the bald kid in Season 1 is actually September. I haven't quite figured out if this is part of training or conditioning observers for time travel, or if it's actually punishment for getting too involved. Which wouldn't explain some things, but it would explain others. Unless you consider the fact that all these timelines are playing out at the same time, and we are just seeing momentary glimpses of colliding timelines. Season 5 has been fun, but I expect a huge twist somewhere, and nothing being settled until the last couple of episodes. And Ghost has revealed his name as Thomas.
That's right, he has. So what do you think?
Thanks, Thomas, for sending in that email. I don't know. I like that theory.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think? I mean, it makes sense. You know, in my mind, I think an awesome TV show would be one, and I don't know if Fringe is going to get there, but this is what I always hope secretly from Season 1.
Yeah.
That you'd have this long, drawn-out, elaborate show that's really cool. And at the end of Season 5, because of the time travel element, it would loop back to Season 1, and so you could watch the show all over again and get different things out of it the second and third watching that you didn't get the first.
That would be pretty cool.
A show on a loop. A looper of a show.
A looper, huh? No, I like the idea that William Bell is traveling in and out through time and timelines and all that stuff. I'd be surprised if that's not the case. I'm leaning towards that being the case. Now, I don't know if, and as far as the bald kid being September, I think that's highly possible as well.
Yeah, I hope that gets addressed sometime. I don't know if it will.
And I hope so too. Now, whether or not these are, he says that they're momentary glimpses of colliding timelines. I'm not sure about that.
Right.
But maybe.
Be cool.
Yeah, and the chat room is got a cool little thing going on over here where they're talking about the people that we saw in this week's episode, the Recordist, maybe being the descendants of Sam Weiss, since his family had also had some sort of responsibility of chronicling events.
I like that.
I like that too. All right, let's listen to a couple more. We do have one more we're going to read, but I am going to play Kira first. And Kira, I will tell you what, I'll save my comment until after Kira's done.
Hey, Fringies, it's Kira, a.k.a. Penny from Miami. Just wanted to call and give it my Bunsen Burners. I gave it a 9.8. Who the heck is Donald? I thought it was such a great episode, and I can't wait to find out who Donald is because I haven't seen the episode yet, and I'm still in Orlando. But I did just want to say, Clint, I'm upset you didn't read my Twinge last week. It was on there. You can go back on Twitter. Look, I did the hashtag and everything, so I'm a little upset that, because you don't think, you're upset that I didn't have my real name, but now you don't have to read my Twinges. But anyway, can't wait to see the episode, and I can't wait to be back in the chat room and on the listening to the podcast next week. Have a fantastic week, and we'll see you soon in another life, brother.
I love it. I was going to say, she can call in and harass you every single week, and I'll probably play it.
It's ridiculous. I read every single Twinge that showed up in my feed.
Mm-hmm.
I'll just say that.
Except for one.
No. I read every single one that was in my feed.
All right.
So I don't know why it didn't show up in my feed.
So blame it on your phone.
if you want.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
It doesn't count if you do it in the middle of the week, Penny.
That's right.
Oh, man.
Okay. Thanks, Penny, or Kira, for calling in that feedback. And we have one more to listen to, and this comes in from Chip. His is going to cut out in the middle here. I think it was on a cell phone. It got a bad connection. He's going to say something about Peter. The part that fades out is he's mentioning Peter's name. You won't hear that, but that's putting it in context. I believe that's what he said. So here we go with Chip.
Clinton, Daryl. It's Chip. I'm on the left coast this week and got to see the West Coast feed of Fringe. He have to be the one to go. Was he the best choice? Could he have maybe gone it over with his top guys and figured out something different? He's the leader. He's the recordist, I guess. So I don't know that was the best move for his folks, but it was a beautiful scene there at the end. Also, Astrid, she's relentless with these tapes. I love it. It's total opposite of Lost, so she's figuring stuff out. I want more Astrid. Speaking of more, where the heck's Broyles? I want him back. I really miss him. They've got to have something in store big for him, and I'm ready for it to start. And finally, Olivia and Peter. I was a little concerned when Olivia was blowing him off about the restaurant name, and then she confesses it and comes with the whole thing about how she really felt and why she ended up leaving. And it was awesome. I love the scene with her and Peter. I love the scene later with her and Etta. It was just a very touching episode. Character drives this whole show, and that's why we watch it. That's why we love it. And that's all I got this week. So it may be a dystopian future, but I still want my happy ending, damn it. See you guys.
Thanks, Chip. I was totally wrong. He was not talking about Peter. He was talking about Edwin.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just remembered it wrong, but yeah. So do you think that Edwin should have asked someone else to go down there, or was he the best choice to go down there?
Well, I think he did what he thought was right.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think he could, as the Lizard King, he couldn't have asked anybody else to do it. But man, I sure would have made a case for, hey, I got to take care of this kid.
Yeah.
I probably would have played it like, hey, I'm going to go down and do this mine thing. I need somebody to look after my kid after I die. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge.
Yeah.
Oh, you don't have any kids? Oh, well, then you can watch my kid after I die since his mother's already dead.
Uh-huh.
It would really stink to lose both parents.
No, I mean, I see your point there. Of course, you don't want to put anyone else's blood on your hands either, and have a chance to really teach a powerful lesson to your son and become a hero. There's that part of it as well. So, someone else mentioned that there's going to be big sacrifices that are going to have to be made in order to eradicate the observers, and for that, I think it was an important way to make it go down.
Cool.
All right, Chip, thank you for calling in. We have one more I'm going to read. This came in from Christina. Christina says, "Hi, my name's Christina. I'm a fan from Peru, and I just found out about your podcast. For me, this episode was an 8.2. In general, the episode was slow, but it had key moments, specifically the development of Olivia and Peter and Etta, and their relationship and the meaning of a coward and a hero. For a second, I could see Olivia or Peter talking to Etta, so I'm happy with it. Furthermore, I'm not a mother, but I relate to Olivia's inner struggles. Said that I don't think she was detached to her daughter. In fact, I'm sure she wasn't. I've thought about becoming a mom, and I also feel like I won't be good enough, but that does not mean I won't love my child. I think that what she meant to say is that she didn't deserve Etta, that her little girl was too good for her, and that she shouldn't even have had her in the first place. She was waiting for the other shoe to drop and end her happy ever after. Another thing, I saw the wall of missing person flyers, and there was a flyer that said, last seen in 2033, upper middle site, white paper. And she says, I might be wrong, so please help me check it out, about the mistake of the number 49 over 41. I think it would be important since they mentioned Olivia's memory twice in the episode, the coordinates and Donovan's deli. And you mentioned the 49th parallel versus the 41 already.
Right.
So hopefully that answered your question there. Finally, she says, about how they are filling the blank spaces of 2015 to 2036. I wished it was going to be more visual than talking. I was hoping for a full episode that would tell us the full story, but it is too idealistic given the short time we have left. At least we deserve more flashbacks while they are talking. Finally, the last scene with Etta and Olivia, I could see that Olivia was giving herself the chance to have a relationship with her daughter. She heard Peter's suggestion, which means that she has evolved into a less stubborn person. We all know that Anna can speak with her eyes, and what I saw was hope. Hope that one day they might have a good relationship, a better future. That was my favorite part of the episode. Sorry about my English. I'm Peruvian, so this is not my native language. Christina, I thought she did great.
Yeah,
Her
very
English
good.
was fantastic.
Yep.
Yeah. My reading wasn't all that great, but that wasn't because of your English. It was because of my reading skills. So very, very good, Christina. Thank you for listening. Glad to have you as a listener. Glad to have you as a contributor to the podcast. And I hope to hear from you again.
Very cool.
All right. Clint, anything else?
I don't think so, but I have solved the Twinge mystery.
Oh, you have?
Yes.
What is the answer to Penny's accusation that you didn't read her?
Well, first of all, it's true.
Okay.
I didn't read hers. But second of all, last week, unlike previous weeks, I got on Twitter's website
Oh, okay.
and searched for #TFP Twinge. If it was written as a reply to GSM Podcast, if I just did a general search, it doesn't show up.
Oh.
So I've got side by side. So she must have put at GSM Podcast, which means it didn't show up in the general feed.
Okay. I didn't know it worked that way.
I didn't either. I
So that
learned
she might
something new.
not have been the only one that didn't get read.
Well, Shukriya said that hers didn't get read either.
Okay.
So
Well, they asked me in the chat room on Friday why there was some of them that didn't get read, and I said, I don't know. That's Clint's thing. I don't even look at them, so I couldn't give you an answer.
Yeah.
So now you've given the answer.
I apologize for all of those that I missed last week. So, and I missed Totally Addicted as well.
Oh, I see.
But please send more hate mail.
Well, you ready for this week's Twinge?
Yes.
All right. That guy on that Twinge jingle sounds an awful lot like you.
Much better. He sounds much better than I do.
Yeah, you're right.
So, all right. So, guys, I apologize. This Twitter thing is new. I'm just kind of figuring it all out.
Whatever.
All right. This week's Twinge poll question was, will we find out Donald and how did he know about the mine? I didn't use proper English there, did I?
No, but it's Twitter. I mean, proper English sometimes has to be ignored in order to get the
Yes.
message.
Will we find out who
Gist.
Donald is what I
Mhm.
meant to say. And how did he know about the mine? All right.
The mime? Like Marcel Marceau?
Yes, the mime. M-I-M-E. Lame. All right, this first one comes in from Captain Trips 42. He says, no, Donald has gone off with the fungus kid and Agent Jessup to study the pattern.
Very nice.
Nice.
I like that. That's a good start.
Little Fringy says, I hope so. The guy who helped the observers back in August was also named Donald.
He sure was. That was the bounty hunter type of
That's
guy.
right.
Yeah.
It would be cool if there was a connection.
Yep.
Weezer Air says, they wouldn't have even shown that scene if they weren't going to address it later. Everything we see now means something.
I hope that's right.
So, yes.
Mm-hmm.
Zeppelin Driver says Donald equals red shirt, confidant of the Fringe team who we'll see in a flashback episode with blue credits and the finale.
Oh, wow. Going out on a limb
That
there.
is way out on a limb, but I
Yeah.
like it. Gibby Nader says nope. They've got much more important story to deal with now. Which I guess is the story about what happens to River now that his dad's dead. Right. I'm sure
Mhm.
that's what the next 7 episodes are going to be
I
about.
think River's going to be taken away to a special school where he's going to be subjected to some testing because he's incredibly smart and gifted.
Like an X-Men
I was thinking more like Firefly,
daycare.
River Tam.
Sorry, I don't get your sci-fi references.
You just made air quotes when
Your
you said
science fiction references.
that? Okay.
Nerd. Ted Grieve says, nope. He was just there to show the danger of the well, nothing more. Trivial_matter says, I believe we're in for a flashback-heavy episode. Will it deal with Donald? We haven't seen the last of the History Vault. No One's Minion says we'll learn a bit more about Donald, but he'll only be a minor part. He's served his main purpose already.
Okay.
Serenity and All says, I'm saying yes. May not be much of a mention, yet I don't think it would have been said if not to be explained.
Okay.
Foamy once says, I'm going to say we won't ever meet him. He was just one of September's many instruments to hide the full scope of the plan. Metacaf84 says, I don't think we'll hear anymore, just a plot device to drive the story forward. Dear Fights said Donald will be a shocking twist at the end of the season. I would say he's a time traveler and someone we know already, either Walter or Peter.
Okay.
Miss Kira Ann, I'm going to skip that one. We're going to go to... oh, just kidding. Miss Kira Ann says, who is this Donald of which you speak? Wild guess, he's somebody important. And for those that aren't familiar, Donald was the one that got taken by the observers, got captured by the observers at the mine.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
That's right.
I'm not sure how to say this Twitter name. Marf Michaelea says we'll see him get recruited in a flashback or he's a previous Fringe case. And finally, Tony Caselli says we'll learn more about Donald. I think someone other than Walter sent him. Peter and Olivia didn't recognize the name. Maybe Belle did.
Okay. Another little tidbit here from the transcript, we learn that Donald is a man in his late 30s, assuming he has aged, and this was 5 weeks after the invasion, so this was 15 years ago.
Okay.
So he's going to be, let's say he was, late 30s, let's call him 40, so he's going to be early to mid-50s now when we see him. Dark hair, could be gray now.
Simon?
His name was Donald. Thought it also said that he had an average build. So that's pretty generic. Simon, maybe. Gosh, that's pretty generic. That doesn't really give us a whole lot of clue at all. But 30s back when it happened, so...
Was he Caucasian?
I believe he was.
So that puts Broyles out.
Yeah. But who would have been 30s around the time of the... that would have been around Peter's age.
Yeah, or Lincoln's age.
Oh, Lincoln, that'd be a great twist, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
That would be fantastic. Yeah.
Or hopefully. Charlie.
Do you think we'll find out? Do you think we'll see Donald again?
I think so. I don't think they would have mentioned that in the way that they did.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be surprised if we see him over and over and over again.
Yeah.
I'm going to guess that it's a character that they're going to introduce named Daryl, and that each place that they go, he's going to be Donald in one place, and then he's going to be Dennis in another place, and then he's going to be Dude in another place, and then we're going to find out that these are all names that Walter can't remember his real name.
Donovan.
Which is Daryl.
Yeah. That would be cool. As long as his name isn't Clint, that'll be great.
That's right.
Yep.
They're saving that for the grand finale. That's Widmark's first name.
Yeah, Clint will be. They'll send one guy off into a door of white light, and that guy will be named Clint. That would be fantastic.
I'm telling you, Widmark's first name is Clint. It's Clint Widmark.
That's funny.
Would that be funny?
Yeah. So how can folks participate in the Twinge question each week?
Yes, you can do that by following us at GSM Podcasts. That goes out about Saturday at around noontime. And just reply to the hash mark TFP Twinge to get it included. I figured out the issue. All will be included. Some may be invalidated.
Okay. Has Penny made it to your invalidation list now?
She's close.
She's close, huh?
She's right on the ragged edge.
Keep it up, Penny. I'm on your side.
Of course, I'm just kidding.
All right. You can also send in feedback if you want to be a part of our feedback segment. You can call us on the Fringe phone at 304-837-2278 or attach an MP3 or other audio file or just typey out an email and send that over to feedback at thefringepodcast.com. And of course, we wanted to remind you of the contest. We want to make sure that you're aware of this because we won't have a podcast next week because there is no Fringe. The deadline for the contest is October the 31st, midnight Central Time. Email those contest entries over to feedback@thefringepodcast.com with the subject line, Bridge the Backstory Contest. Again, we're looking for your creative ideas on what happened between 2015 when the invasion hit and 2036 when the Fringe team was taken out of Amber and the story was resumed. So all those ideas, we kind of got a little bit of an answer to Jean this week, but we still think about maybe what's going through her mind all these years. Countless ideas.
Grass.
Any medium you want, we want to hear. So send those in to us. We have to be able to digitally is the word I'm looking for here.
Yes.
It needs to be in a digital format.
Yes, no R-rated content.
Yep. Or X.
Or X. Or NC-17.
Yeah.
We have to be able to share it on our website.
Yep.
You get to pick otherwise. It's the future is wide open.
Yep.
Dun 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 dun. If you want to bake a cookie with a diorama of chocolate chips and take a picture of that and send it in, that's fine. Feel free.
Yep.
Feel free to do that.
And again, we
diorama, that would be so awesome.
A diorama is a great idea,
Fringe
actually.
diorama.
You could totally do that. Stop animation would be another fantastic idea.
That'd be great.
Yeah, I know some of you guys are out there listening are animators. We would love to see an animated cartoon come in of some sort. Or an animation, anything. That'd be a cartoon. But,
yep.
And again, we want to make sure, I don't know that we've done as good of a job as we should of thanking Global Cash Card for supporting and sponsoring this contest. All the prizes are coming to you because of their generosity, and go over to their website, find Michael Purcell's email address or whatever you want to do to let them know how much you appreciate their support of this podcast and this contest. They really are fantastic people over there. We're not just saying that because, they're paying us to do that. They really are great people. We really think they have a great product, a great service. They're a great company, and just glad to have them on board for this final season.
That's right.
Yep.
That's absolutely right. We're very, very lucky, and you guys are actually very lucky because they're putting up the money for the prizes.
Mm-hmm.
We've got prizes. We've got prizes. We've got lots and lots and lots and lots of prizes.
Mm-hmm. If you want to help support what we do here at The Fringe Podcast and Golden Spiral Media, go over to thefringepodcast.com/support, and there you will see the various opportunities that you have to help keep us going and help pay the bills here at Golden Spiral Media. I mentioned in our last podcast that we have some upgrades, equipment upgrades that are available for you to, contribute money specifically towards. One of those is microphone upgrades. The microphones we have that we're using today are really good microphones. We could take it up a notch to some professional quality upgrades, and you may say, well, I don't care. You sound great. What's the benefit of that? Listen, you think Clint and his singing sounds good now. You just wait till we throw a professional recording microphone onto him. He will sound amazing.
Yeah, Daryl is going to invest in the live auto-tune so that when I sing, everything's on pitch. So
yeah, that's right.
Yes, love it.
All right. Well, guys, I think that's it. Have we covered everything?
I think so. One last thing about the contest.
Yes.
15-minute digestion or less.
Oh, thank you for mentioning that.
Yeah, we don't want a 100-page novel that takes us 6 hours to read because we are going to get a lot of entries. So
yeah, they're already piling in. It's right. Great.
Love it. I think that's it.
I think that's it, too. Yep. We're going to take next week off. We mentioned that. Yep. And tune into the Revolution podcast. We record that Tuesday nights at 8 o'clock Eastern. Same chat room where you can go over to goldenspiralmedia.com/live. We'd love to have you there. Of course, Revolution is airing Monday nights at 9 Central on NBC. And until next time, stay Fringe-tastic.
Keep it nerdy.
The Fringe Podcast and Golden Spiral Media are not associated with Bad Robot Productions, Warner Brothers, or Fox. Golden Spiral Media's use of any and all copyrighted material is only for parody, news analysis, critique, and for educational purposes as provided within United States Code Title 17, aka Fair Use. Copyright 2012, Golden Spiral Media.